Hey everyone, it's Phil here from Ashland Leather, and I've got a bunch of great stuff to show you today, including a little update on my natural Lancaster Fat Herbie. I've got a bunch of other wallets that are shipping from our website, including some John the Foxes. I got Fat Herbie, Bugs Moran, Tony the Ant, and some Frank the Enforcers. But let's look at this Fat Herbie first. This is the natural Lancaster that I've been wearing for how many days now? Let's see, 82 days, I believe, if I can count my tallies correctly. But this is aging pretty nicely, and it's a slow burn. I'm starting to see the luster change a little bit more dramatically than the color change, which is interesting. You might be able to see there, I'm getting this really interesting sheen on the surface of the leather. The grain is becoming a little bit more compact and tightening up, and it's giving it a nice little polished look, which I think is really interesting. And it's often really hard for me to capture that on the videos. It sort of has this nice wet look now that is very satisfying. And the color, the other aspect of patina, I'm starting to see it pick up a lot of color from my denim, especially in the corner here, on the spine and in the corners on the top of the wallet. And the inside is not really changing very much at all. So in terms of patina, I think of two different things. I think of the color patina and the luster. So right now, this is a big A+ on luster, and it's a slow burn for color changing. And here we have another Fat Herbie. This one is the natural Chrome Excel Fat Herbie. It's a very popular item, and I believe a few people have picked these up today. So you should be getting this soon. I can't wait for you to have it. Fat Herbie is my favorite wallet style because not only is it the first wallet that I ever made for Ashland here, but it's also got a really unique card layout and unique exterior bill slot. So those two things are really special to me for a couple of reasons. Is when you load up cards in this type of layout, the contents of the cards is spread out over more surface area. So if you're a back pocket wallet guy, it makes it for a thinner wallet just because you're not stacking maybe a dozen cards on top of each other. You're stacking more like 6 and 6. So it just makes it for a thinner wallet. And on the outside, this exterior bill slot, the way that this works is very easy to access cash and to put cash in. Just because if you can see how I can open it just with one hand, that back slot there, and it's a little bit extra room, so you can easily fit cash in there. But on top of that, it also fits every paper currency in the world. So for all those reasons, I just really love the Fat Herbie. And as an extra bonus, you get a larger context of leather on the outside to look at. And I always think that a larger context is often better. I just think looking at large areas of leather is very interesting. Up next here, we have the Tony the Ant, and this one is also going out today. This is in color H shell cordovan. This is sort of the classic shell cordovan color. And the Tony the Ant might look similar to the Fat Herbie, but it's a little bit smaller. Let's compare that really quickly. You can see the Fat Herbie in the back there. It's a little taller and a bit wider. So this is more of a maximalist type wallet, the Fat Herbie. And the Tony the Ant is a little bit more for a minimalist style. I like to call it a crossover because it's not like a full minimalist wallet. You still have 4 card slots on the inside with a bill slot on the back, so you can hold a good amount. But it's not designed to carry as much stuff as something like the Giant the Fox or the Fat Herbie. This is a really good looking Tony in that classic color 8 shell cordovan. And very similarly to the Tony the Ant, this is a color 8 shell cordovan Bugs Moran, which is just like the Tony the Ant with 2 minor changes. On the Bugs Moran, we do not have a bill slot on the back. So this is better if you're a minimalist or if you like putting a wallet in your front pocket. I tend to think this is a little bit better for that. And it's also a little bit smaller. It's a little bit more narrow. So keep your eye on the center here. This section where the Horween ink stamp is yay big. And if I look at a Tony the Ant, you can see the section is a little bit wider. So trying to compare those two here, you can see that the Bugs Moran is just tightened up a little bit. I think it's perfect to hold in your hand, the size of it, where the Tony is also nice, but it's just a little bit bigger to accommodate the cash slot in the back here. All right, and we're continuing to slim down here before we grow into some Johnny the Foxes, but this is the Frank the Enforcer in my favorite shell cordovan color, the Amaretto shell cordovan. And what I like about this color is it sort of changes. Depending on what angle you look at it, It's sort of a reddish medium brown and the dark range, and then the lighter range is like this light orange tan that is really cool. And all you have to do is sort of spin it around like this to see the color change right before your eyes. I just think that's remarkable. And on top of that, the orange and tan in this is just a really beautiful color. So for those reasons, I really like the amaretto shell. Unfortunately, we're currently sold out of it. So if you don't see it in stock, it might be a little bit of an extra wait time before we receive more amaretto shell. And one more thing to note on this Frank the Enforcer, this has been personalized for AP. So thank you so much, AP, for supporting us. Everybody else, if you're looking to personalize a wallet, maybe for a gift or maybe for yourself, we can absolutely do that. And we do special requests. So if there's something a little extra long that you want to see on there, we've been able to accommodate those requests as well. Oh, by the way, did I mention the flag in the back? That's a super cool flag. And we believe that was the flag that my brother and I met. You may have met on email. That's our grandfather's flag from World War II. And we never met him. He died before we were born. But we believe that was a flag that was presented at his funeral. So I thought it fit really nicely in the background here. So hopefully you enjoy it too. I just think it looks great. It's huge. So let's get on to the wallets again. This is another Frank the Enforcer and a really nice piece of black reverse shell cordovan. And you'll notice that it's not black at all. It's very much green. And in fact, there's 3 different greens on the front here and a different green on the back with the Horween ink stamp. The reason that this is called black reverse and not green reverse is because this is the reverse side of the black shell cordovan. So if I open up this wallet in the large slot here, you can see that these pieces are actually black shell cordovan. And the unintended, also known as reverse side of that, is this green color. So the green color that we call black reverse is just the reverse side of the black shells. It's a little confusing, and those colors tend to range from these 3 different shades, sort of like a greenish tan to sort of a navy tan, like a little bit more blue in the center there. And the top is a little bit of a lighter green. And we often see these really interesting randomized dye marks, like in the top center there, that I think is super cool. And each of these are unique and special. And it also gives us a great opportunity to show off the Horween ink stamp on the back. And one more super cool Frank the Enforcer today. This one is in a remarkable piece of natural shell cordovan. Look at the luster on that. It's hard for me to actually not blow out the camera with light here because it's so shiny. But this is a really beautiful shade. A light tan, very much not saturated in color. It's very much like a neutral tan and very light. And you can see the color change if you look at those 2 pattern pieces on the back. Right now the top is darker and the bottom is lighter. And if I angle it down, it sort of flips itself. So the bottom is dark and now the top is light. That's sort of because there's this microscopic, it's almost like a suede that you can't feel in the shell. The shell itself has fibers that point certain directions, and you're sort of seeing the color change just by looking at different angles of those fibers. It's kind of like a suede when you brush the nap one direction or brush it a different direction, the color changes before your eyes. This is like a nap that you can't move because it's fixed. All those fibers aren't moving anywhere. And although I say there's fibers in there, they're so tight together that you can't even feel it. They're super smooth, which is a unique feature of the shell cordovan. Up next here, I really want to promote this English Tan Dublin Johnny the Fox. And we've just restocked these. I've got plenty to go around. This has been a very popular leather and a very popular wallet for us. So many of you have picked these up, and thank you so much for supporting us. I love the English Tan Dublin. In all the videos, I keep saying that I've been having a love affair with it, but let me explain why. A couple more times. I'll continue to explain it because I just love looking at it. Number one, the look of it. It has this really great color, sort of an orangey tan, and it's got a depth of color. So the surface is a little bit more red and a little bit more brown, and the undertones are sort of this nice, vibrant, a little bit more of an orange tan shade when I flex it down the spine like that. And I think the combination of those two is very compelling. I think it's a great look, great color. The Dublin leather itself has a really interesting natural grain character. It's very pronounced and very much like a natural look. It doesn't look like paint. You can see all the grain in the leather itself. And then the leather is finished with a hard wax layer on the surface. So that does a couple things for you. It gives you this really satisfying luster. But also, if you ever scratch or scuff this leather, you should be able to fill in that scratch very easily just by rubbing your finger over it. What you're doing is you're going to melt the wax that has been finished onto leather back into the scratch. So that's a really great characteristic of the Dublin. It's pretty unique. On the inside of this one, we have a leather that is called latigo, and this is made on a horsehide. And to make it more confusing, we've named this color something crazy. We call it mock, and that's what the tanneries called it for maybe about 100 years now. And we believe that mock is just a shortened word for moccasin. It's a color name. So mock is this light tan, a little bit yellow shade that I think pairs very nicely with the English tan Dublin on the outside. And I have a Johnny the Fox here in black chrome excel leather. You're going to be sad by this because this is the last one that we're probably ever going to make in black chrome excel. And I really like it. I like it a lot. But we're switching all the chrome excel out to a Dublin on the outside instead. And actually the Dublin, I have one here. So this is what the Dublin looks like. It might look very similar, but when you look at these in person, the Dublin has like a little bit of a brighter look, but it also has much more of an interesting and pronounced grain character to it. And this particular piece of Dublin here is exceptionally smooth, but let's see if I can compare that. The Chrome Excel here is a little bit more of a mild luster. It does have a nice sheen to it, but very much a flat and polished grain. So you don't get a whole lot of grain character because it's all been filled in and polished back, as opposed to the Dublin, which is not finished at all. It's just super grainy, very much nice character, nice natural character on the Dublin. I like that. I think the best black leather right now around is the Dublin. So sad to see this Chrome Excel Johnny the Fox go away, but it's going to a good home, I'm sure. Can't wait for you to have this one with the black inside as well. I love the stealth outlook on this. Black Chrome Excel on the outside, black horsehide latigo on the inside. All of the edges are black, and the inside bill slot here is black. We do have these available in black Dublin on the outside. So if you're looking for a blacked out, stealthed out wallet, we can still do that for you. And here's that Johnny the Fox I was showing you a second ago. This is the black Dublin leather on the outside. I love the black Dublin. Dublin's about my favorite leather right now. If you can't tell, I just get pumped every time I see the English tan or the black or the cobalt blue. But what's cool about this one is that color combo. So on the inside, we have a contrasting teal horsehide latigo. The same leather that we use on the black interior, but just a different dye. It's also the same leather as the mock, but it's got this really interesting, bright, vibrant, sort of light blue color, which is really neat. And what's great about this is the more you wear it, the better that teal's going to look. It's going to develop a nice patina, darken up, get a little shinier. And I like how it plays against the black on the outside. Up next here, this is the Slate Vintage Johnny the Fox, and we only have 2 of these left. So if you've picked these up, thank you guys so much. I think this is a really special leather. It's super difficult to make a gray leather without making it look like paint. And for me, this is the best gray that I have seen so far. It still has really great natural character. And it has a depth of color, actually. We get lighter undertones, a little bit white on some of that checked look. And then you have little spots of black sort of mixed in together. So you get a range of gray on this, which I really like. And when you rub this and polish it, it will darken up. So in your pocket, this will become a bit darker to more of like a charcoal gray, like a very dark. But you can always flex the leather back and bring back some of these waxes out that will make it lighter again. So we do have 2 of these left. If you're looking for one, they're on the flash sale page. And here's another Johnny the Fox. This one's in natural chrome excel, and I think this is our best-selling Johnny the Fox right now. I could be wrong. But people are really into the Johnny the Fox and the natural chrome excel. The natural chrome excel in general, not just from Ashland, is the most popular chrome excel color. And I think people like this sort of relatable light tan. It's not overbearing, it's not very vibrant, but it's just a very nice neutral brown that wears in very nicely. And I think with the black horsehide interior that we have here, these 2 pair very nicely together. Can't wait for you to have this one. And I have a color number 8 shell cordovan Johnny the Fox here. This one has a mock horsehide interior, which I also like how the color 8 and mock go together. I think that's a really good look. If you're not familiar with the shell cordovan, you're probably not watching this video. I think most of you are, but it's very famous leather now. Originally, it was used to make razor strops back in 1905 when Horween started making shell cordovan. But nowadays, you find it all over the place. A lot of footwear and a lot of small leather goods and some watch straps that we do. So thank you for supporting us with this one. This is a really beautiful Johnny the Fox. A really great shell in this piece. And the last wallet for today. This is a remarkable piece of shell cordovan. This is the whiskey shell cordovan Johnny the Fox that we've had on sale. It's currently on our flash sale for the last week or so. And every time I bring this out, I get really excited about the shell. This is a batch of shells that we're cutting from to make these are just about as good as it gets. It sort of has that perfect luster, very bright, shiny sheen to it that you expect out of shell cordovan, but it also is very, very smooth and rich feeling. This is a remarkable piece of shell. And for the many of you that have picked these up, thank you guys so much. We made a larger batch to try to spread the word about these to more people and get people to experience it for themselves. Thank you guys so much for supporting us with that. And to whoever picked this one up, you got a really special piece here on this whiskey shell Johnny the Fox. Thank you so much for supporting our small little company here. And all these are going out today. Can't wait for you to have them. Let's see what I like. I really like that whiskey shell fox. I'm a big fan of the black Dublin. If you couldn't tell, with that teal interior is also really cool. And then what else do we have that was fun? Oh, there's so much fun stuff. I really liked this Bugs Moran and that classic color 8 on the outside with the reverse interior. I forgot to mention how much I like reverse on the interior of the wallets. I know it's not as like a formal aesthetic. It's a little bit more casual, but I like the way that the reverse shell wears against itself. I think it's super special. So thanks again, everybody. I'll be back again later this week with some more stuff. And until then, I hope you have a good one.